The committee study of the Central Intelligence Agency's Detention and Interrogation Program is a report compiled by the bipartisan United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, or the SSCI, about the Central Intelligence Agency Detention and Interrogation Program and its use of torture during interrogation in U.S. government bulletins on detainees in CIA custody. The more than 6,700-page report, including 38,000 footnotes, details the history of the CIA's Detention and Interrogation Program and the committee's 20 findings and conclusions. On December 9th, 2014, the SSCI released a 525-page portion that consisted of key findings and an executive summary of the full report. It took more than 5 years to complete. The full unredacted report remains classified. Today's summary: CIA declines to answer committee questions for the record about the CIA interrogation program. On March 8, 2008, President Bush vetoed the Intelligence Authorization Bill. President Bush explained his decision to veto the bill in a radio broadcast that repeated CIA representations that the CIA interrogation program produced critical intelligence that prevented specific terrorist plots. As described in this summary and in greater detail in Volume 7, the statement reflected inaccurate information provided by the CIA to the President and other policymakers in CIA briefings. 3 days later, the House of Representatives failed to override the veto. On May 22, 2008, the CIA informed the committee that the vetoed legislation has had no impact on CIA policies concerning the use of enhanced interrogation techniques. As noted, CIA Director Porter Goss had previously testified to the committee that we cannot do it by ourselves and that we need to have the support of our oversight committee. It's further noted the Office of Legal Counsel's 2007 memorandum applying the Military Commissions Act to the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques relied on the CIA's representation that none of the members expressed the view that the CIA interrogation program should be stopped or that the techniques at issue were inappropriate. In June 2008, the CIA provided information to the committee in response to a reporting requirement in the fiscal year 2008 Intelligence Authorization Act. The CIA response stated that all of the CIA's interrogation techniques were evaluated under the applicable law during the time of their use and were found by the Department of Justice to comply with those legal requirements. This was inaccurate. Diapers, nudity, dietary manipulation, and water dousing were used extensively by the CIA prior to any Department of Justice review. As detailed in the full committee study, the response included additional information that was incongruent with the history of the program. On June 10, 2008, the committees held a hearing on the Department of Justice memoranda relating to the CIA's Detention and Interrogation Program, to which the committee had recently been provided limited access. At the hearing, CTC Legal provided inaccurate information on several topics, including the use of sleep deprivation and its effects. Acting Assistant Attorney General Stephen Bradbury also testified, noting that the Department of Justice deferred to the CIA with regards to the effectiveness of the CIA interrogation program. The committee then submitted official questions for the record on the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques and on the effectiveness of the program, including how the CIA asserted the effectiveness of the interrogation techniques for purposes of representations to the Department of Justice. The CIA prepared responses that included an acknowledgement that CTC Legal had provided inaccurate information with regard to the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. The prepared responses were never provided to the committee. Instead, on October 17, 2008, the CIA informed the committee that it would not respond to the committee's questions for the record, and that instead, the CIA was available to provide additional briefings on this issue to members as necessary. In separate letters to Director Hayden, Chairman Rockefeller, and Senator Feinstein referred to this refusal to respond to official committee questions as unprecedented and simply unacceptable and appalling. But there's more news where that came from.
The director of the Central Intelligence Agency struck back today at a scathing Senate report on interrogations in the years after 9/11. John Brennan took the highly unusual step of calling reporters to CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, to make his case.
There were no easy answers. And whatever your views are on EITs, our nation, and in particular this agency, did a lot of things right during this difficult time to keep this country strong and secure.
Brennan was deputy director when so-called enhanced interrogation techniques, or EITs, began. He conceded today there were abuses, but he defended the CIA's overall record.
In a limited number of cases, agency officers used interrogation techniques that had not been authorized, were abhorrent, and rightly should be repudiated by all. It is vitally important to recognize, however, that the overwhelming majority of officers involved in the program at CIA carried out their responsibilities faithfully and in accordance with the legal and policy guidance they were provided.